when striving and struggling to keep Islam. When the last moment came, and we have truly been tested, who are those who truly believe in this Prophet? At the very last moment, when it appeared that there was no hope left, it is only then that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salam, take your rod and strike the water. In the same way that Allah intervened and saved Banu Israel through this miracle and destroyed that powerful, arrogant, oppressive, godless world that was persecuting the Muslims through a divine miracle, so too will history end. Ashura is the story of how the story will end. That history is going to witness a repeat of that epic encounter between truth and falsehood. When Fir'aun was drowning underneath the water, Banu Israel have crossed, and they're now in Sinai. And Fir'aun and his army are now crossing, and the waters came down. Then Fir'aun, while he was drowning, same Surah Yunus tells us, while he was drowning, now the veils are removed from the eyes. And now he could see what otherwise he could not see. And he recognizes the truth of the message of Musa alayhi salam. So he declares, now I believe in the God that Banu Israel worship. And I am a Muslim. Okay? Now I'm a Muslim. In fact, this was the fulfillment of a dua. Listen to the dua that Musa alayhi salam made. And it is fulfilled now. Musa alayhi salam prayed, O Allah, you have indeed given to Pharaoh and to his government and his people, given them splendor, given them wealth in this life of the dunya. And you have done that, O Allah, in order to misguide them, mislead them. Your wealth is the source of your going to Jahannam. O Allah, I pray to you. Musa alayhi salam is praying. I pray to you, O Allah, to cause the wealth that they have to rotten them, to deface the features of their wealth, so that that wealth would cause them to become rotten, and send hardness into their hearts, O Allah, so that they will not believe until that moment comes when they see the fire. Only then they will believe. They will not believe until that moment comes when the veils are removed and now they can see what they could not see before. Only now would they believe. And Allah then responded and He says, قَالَ قَدْ أُجِيبَتْ دَعْوَتُكُمَا. Your dua of Moses and Musa and Harun, your dua is accepted. And so Fir'aun, at the last moment, when now he can see what otherwise could not be seen, now he accepts Islam. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded in the next ayah, and He says, Al-an, now Fir'aun, وَقَدْ عَصَيْتَ قَبْلُ, and before this you were in open rebellion, وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, and you were committing fasad on the earth, corrupting the earth, oppressing the earth. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ. This day we have decided to preserve your physical body. لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, that your physical body, when it is rediscovered, would be a sign for a people to come after you. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ. But most people, they don't have time to bother about my signs. So when the body of Firaun is discovered, this is the sign of all signs that history will now witness a repetition of that epic encounter between Musa and Firaun. And it will end in the same way, that those who are persecuting the Muslims will at the very last moment, when they believe that success is now assured for them, and they will finish off the Muslims. And when amongst the Muslims they all lose hope except the young, at that last moment, Allah will intervene. Over there He intervened with the rod and the sea, and over here He intervened with the son of Mary, who now comes down, which was my lectures on Jerusalem and the Quran and all the other lectures. The body of Fir'aun was discovered towards the end of the last century, a little bit more than 100 years ago. And so for the last 100 years, you cannot understand history, and you cannot understand the future which lies ahead unless you go to this Quran and not only study the history of Banu Israel, the prophets of Banu Israel, but in particular study the history of Musa alayhi salam. And when you study the history of Musa alayhi salam, study the event of Ashura, because Ashura has in it the key to the understanding of history today and the understanding of the end of history. I believe this is perhaps the first time you've heard a talk on Ashura like this. Every year on the 10th of Muharram you fast for Ashura. Yes. And every year on the 10th of Muharram you hear some lecture or something on the subject of Ashura. But that the Quran should be the source and the base for understanding Ashura, this is where we have been deficient. Yes?